Let's take a look at Wednesday. There are 10 games on. That means 20 teams making their first appearance from the NBA season. Let's look at what we're watching for. Let's look at streaming. And let's hear from the one and only Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am chewing at the bit, ready to get started to dig into Wednesday's games. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. We've got Locked On newsletters for whatever your favorite team it is. At one stop for the ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up at LockedOnDaily.com. That is LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new Locked On newsletter. And you will see a little segment from me, no matter what team, you can't escape it. No matter what team you follow and what team you want to sign up for, you will see a segment from me in there 5 days a week. Thank you also for being a double banger and thumbing it up and leaving the comments and making this preseason, I believe, the most successful we have had. We always want to keep moving and growing and pushing to that mythical 100K silver play button that I want. I want it. I'm not going to lie. I want the silver play button. We're close-ish. Let's keep pushing. We are here to talk about Wednesday in the NBA, and I'm aware that you might be watching this show before Tuesday's games have even started. That's okay. We're going to do the Tuesday recap show, but we get this show out now, so you've got 24 hours or so to sit on the information, work out what we're watching for. If there are updates that come in later on, we do that in the recap show, but we're just giving you a bit of a heads up, plan your streams out, work out what you want to do, which guys we target, what is the early injury news for a lot of these games. So that is what we are here to cover off on. Let's start by taking a look at what is on my radar for the 10 games on Wednesday. We're going to start with the first game of the day. It is Indiana. It is the Detroit Pistons. So what am I watching? Let's cover the injuries off first. Isaiah Jackson is questionable for the Pacers. I did have, and when you see me on the YouTube side of things, put that injury report up, and there's an asterisk next to a player's name. That is my assumption that a player is out. Now, sometimes when in creating these graphics and creating this show, an official injury report will drop in the meantime. I'm not having it literally up to the minute. It's just, I can't do it. Asar Thompson is officially ruled out. Bobby Klintman is ruled out as well, but Asar is out. We knew this was coming. We knew he hadn't been cleared to play. I don't think we're seeing Asar this week. Honestly, I think it's 2 to 3 weeks away, but I don't know that. But they're the injuries in this game. I'm also including the betting line for those of you who are interested. The Pacers are 4.5-point favorites here. And in terms of the schedule, the Pacers go 3 games this week, 3 games next week, and the Pistons go 3 and 4. Shout out to the guy that suggested on the schedule graphic that I, instead of putting a slash, I put a little arrow there. So I hope that arrow works for you. Hope it looks good. What am I watching for on the Pacers side? Andy Nembhard. Because I would say the preseason's been underwhelming. He had some big games in the playoffs, but his last regular season was underwhelming. I didn't mind a pick of him, but he will be eminently cuttable if a good free agent comes up. We'll see what happens in this game, though. Let's see how he performs and how they use him. And on the Detroit side, you know that I've been somewhat concerned about Jalen Duren's lack of defense. The passport legend was horrible at that. And I worried about what they would do with Isaiah Stewart and his spacing and shooting advantage over Duren, considering Stewart allegedly is not playing power forward. So let's see how they distribute those minutes. In terms of the streams, the guys that I give are these individual game streams are available according to our advanced roster metric in 55% of leagues. So we use that as a metric we track on Basketball Monster for its people who use Basketball Monster as well. So we sort of have an idea of people who are taking fantasy more serious versus the ESPN roster percentage numbers, for example. And that should give a better indication of availabilities. So all of these guys in the stream zone here are 45% rostered or below. And for Indiana, we look at TJ McConnell. You know what you get: assists, steals, field goals. And then for the Pistons, I think they might start Tim Hardaway, but they could start Simone Fontecchio. But Tim Hardaway could be a streamer for some points and some threes in that scenario. Of course, we'd want to know that starting lineup. The second game is your Brooklyn Nets against the Atlanta Hawks. A couple of interesting things here. The old mates, the Nets, have got a lot of injuries. Day'Ron Sharpe is out. Bojan Bogdanovic is out. No shock. Trendon Watford is out. But in good news, Nick Claxton is available. He had that hamstring problem through the preseason. On the Atlanta side, Kobe Buffkin, who had an absolute monster in preseason and then hurt his shoulder again, he is out. I hate that because I like Kobe, and they don't have another point guard. There's no one. So I don't know what they're going to do as the backup. It's going to be a lot of Dyson Daniels and Bogdan Bogdanovic, which helps Bogdanovic a lot. And this is the problem that Buffkin had through Summer League. So we hope that he's okay. Cody Zeller is out, personal. He's just not going to play for this team. And Clint Capella, who didn't play the last preseason game, is in. So we get the decision now. Capella or Kongwu. We see what Quinn Snyder decides. They're both available. They're both ready to go. The Hawks are 7.5 point favorites in terms of schedule. Atlanta goes 3-4. Brooklyn 3-4. I want to watch Ben Simmons, of course I do, because that's what we want to see. How do they use him? How do him and Claxton work together? Is he a 25-minute starter? Is he a 30-minute starter? Will he ever take more than 2 shots in a game? I don't know. But we watch it. And for Atlanta, it's Jalen Johnson. He should be the second usage player. He just got a gigantic contract extension. I want to see because his free throws and three-point percentage tailed at the end of last season, so let's see where they sit. In terms of streams, Dorian Finney-Smith is amazingly going to play minutes, so he is streamable. Noah Clowney is in that mix as well, obviously. And then for the Hawks, I don't know whether DeAndre Hunter or Zachary Ricochet are going to start, but Hunter's just everywhere. Like, you can get him wherever you want. So he would be a stream option. Remembering that in week 1, we are not prioritizing max games for the week. We're not. We are trying to see interesting players that appear, weird things in rotations that we had no idea about, or changes in schemes or play of someone to make sure we get the right player, but also to pounce on the other absolute sniffers in your league that drop a good player. And then we pounce and add that guy. That's what our priority is for this week. Orlando and Miami is the third game of the day. A battle of Florida. The Florida men. Wendell Carter is playing. That's a W. Joshie Richardson is doubtful. I actually believe he might have been ruled out now, but he was doubtful. The Heat are 2-point favorites. The Magic have a 3-4 schedule, 3 this week, 4 next week. The Heat have a stinking 2-3 schedule, so only 5 games over the first 2 weeks. Jalen Suggs got a big extension for Orlando. What I want to see with Suggsy is he was playing 27 minutes a night as a starting shooting guard and then point guard second half. Is he a 31-minute-a-night player now? Can you get more than the Shelvin Mack Memorial 4 assists per game as the Magic starting point guard? Is the shooting actually real? Because it was a big step up. I don't know. Lots of things to watch. For Miami, what do they do with old mate Jaime Jaquez? Is Jaquez only useful when Jim Butler is out? Will they play him 30 minutes regardless and play smaller with Jimmy playing up at the 4? Or does Jaquez languish as a 25-minute-a-night player who doesn't do anything? Because that will be a decision that if you've got him, can you stash him for a Butler absence or is he going to have standalone use? Stream guys for Orlando, we look at Cole Anthony. I don't think there's much upside in Cole this season unless he's moved. And then for Miami, it's Little Chungus, Nikola Jovic, who I'm very confident will start. But I think you'll see Haywood Highsmith play some minutes there. And I'm also very intrigued to see what they do at backup center. Do they know that Tom Bryant is useless? I hope so. We'll see whether they play him. Do they play Kevin Love? Or do they give Superman Khalil Ware some of those minutes in the backup spot? We've got more games to cover. But first of all, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You can start the season, the NBA season, with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. In the middle of the game, you might get a hunch. You might check out the latest stats right on the app. You open it up, you see what's going on in the halftime. And you go, okay, let's see how this is all playing out. And you get in there, you check it out, and bang. You've got the odds, you've got the live stats, you've got the live play-by-play, for whatever sport it is you're talking about, the NFL, NBA, whatever it is. And if you are a new customer to FanDuel, if you place your first $5 bet, well, you can get yourself $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. So head across to FanDuel.com. All these odds that I'm showing you are presented by FanDuel as well. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, we're still looking here at the things that are on my radar for the games across the beginning of the week. Not the beginning of the week, but I'll tell you, across on Wednesday. The fourth game of the day is one that should have been an absolute banger. It won't be because there's a lot of players out. It is Milwaukee and Philadelphia. And we got the news that I guess we were dreading. Khris Middleton is out. Well, we knew that. Giannis is probable. That's okay. But both Joel Embiid and Paul George are out. Now, Embiid's been ruled out for the week. George has not. I initially ruled Paul George out for all of this week. I don't think that he plays, but they haven't ruled him out, but they have ruled Embiid out, which is very weird. Embiid played in the Olympics, came back, didn't play in preseason. Now they're like ramping up his conditioning. Obviously, they've got a plan for stuff, but what I did. I didn't touch him in the first round at all. I would not draft him in the first round for very specific reasons. And I don't know if it's going to be right or not, but at the moment, it's trending that way. Tyrese Maxey had a thumb issue. He's available to play. I had Jared McCain as questionable, but he is actually available after that hard fall, so W there. Milwaukee's got a 3-3 schedule in week 1 and week 2, and Philadelphia goes 3-2. So they've got a 2-game week next week, Philadelphia. In terms of what I watch him in Milwaukee, I want to watch Damian Lillard because last season he started off strong and then struggled down the stretch. A lot of personal problems there, obviously, in trying to figure out stuff in this offense. But I want to see Lillard's usage. I want to see the shooting numbers. I want to see where they get back to. I'm pretty confident that they bounce back, not to prime Lillard, but better than last season. But we watch it, of course. He's older. There's always a chance when you are 33, 34 years of age that it just is done. That is always a chance. For the Sixers, there's no George, there's no Embiid, so that is probably going to mean a lot of Tyrese Maxey. Now, last season, when players were out, his efficiency really struggled. So is that what happens here in these scenarios where Embiid and George are out? Does he just take a million shots and they don't go in? We watch it. On the Milwaukee side, the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince, Darvin Ham's son, will probably start. He'll probably play 30 minutes. He'll probably be useless for most leagues, but deeper leagues, there's a little bit there. And then for Philadelphia, I don't know if they start Caleb Martin. I don't know if they start KJ Martin. But Caleb is probably the guy that I would consider a stream option. There's also Eric Gordon, who will probably get a start as well. I think they'll go Maxey, Gordon, Oubre, Martin, and then Drummond. Now, Drummond isn't included as a streamer because, according to our metric, he's like 89% rostered. But on Yahoo, Drummond's like 32%. So just as an aside, go and check. Like, if Andre Drummond is available in your league, please add him. Even if it's just for this week, please add him. We know there's no Embiid. Part of the issue with drafting Drummond was like, we didn't know like if you'd play 15 minutes a night and then get a stretch of playing 28 minutes a night. The stretch is here now. It's 28. So you have to have him. And yeah, most people he's not available, but if he sits there on your waiver wire, please go and add the big avocado. The next game we look at is the Cleveland Cavaliers, unfortunately having to travel up to Toronto. The Cavs are 7-point favorites here. The Cavs go 3-4 schedule-wise, and the Raptors also go 3-4. But in terms of injuries, Max Strus, the winter soldier, is out, although Tyrese Halliburton is coming for that name as well. On Toronto's side, a lot, man. Rowan Barrett, shoulder injury. We were a little bit worried about his availability in this early part of the season, and that's why I started moving off him in drafts. I would have gone more aggressive with him like to 80 or 90 Barrett, but now I started pushing him to 100. That AC joint for a team that doesn't care, which is Toronto, and openly said they don't care, was making me a little worried. And he's out to begin the season, Barrett. So is Kelly Olynyk, so is Bruce Brown, and so is Jacoby Walter, who's going to be out for a few weeks. This means they're going to need a lot of Jakob Poeltl, and then I guess Bruno Fernando or Jonathan Mobo as the backup center. And replacing Barrett is almost definitely going to be Ochai Agbaji. You're probably going to get some Chris Boucher mixed in there as well. I don't want to fall for the Chris Boucher thing, but that's possible. On the Cavs, I want to watch Evan Mobley. I think that there is way more for Mobley, and I want to watch what Atkinson does just overall with the rotation and the pace. But I think we're going to see a little bit more out of Mobley this season. And on the Raptors, Emmanuel Quickley. We saw a big breakout from him last season. There's no Barrett, so it's just him and Barnes. What do the assists look like? What does the usage look like? In terms of streams, Karis LeVert, one of the better streams around because there's no Max Strus. I don't think he starts. I think it's Dean Wade, but he's there. And then Ochai Agbaji, revenge game against Cleveland. Agbaji's bad. I don't think he's very good at all, but when you're looking for someone in a deeper format who's maybe going to play 30 minutes and he might get a steal, he might get a block, he might have 10 points, that's something. And when you're in those deeper formats, that does become more important. Next, we go to Charlotte. We don't go to Charlotte, actually. We go to Houston. Well, you stay wherever you are. But the game is in Houston, and it's the Charlotte Hornets taking on the Houston Rockets. The Rockets are 7-point favorites, and both of these teams have a 3-game week into a 3-game week than a week after. In terms of injuries, unfortunately, I don't have an update on Mark Williams. Oh my God, I got it. Oh, here it just came. Mark Williams is out for Wednesday. There you go. Of course it is. The Hornets said that he continues to progress in his rehab from a left foot injury, is returned to on-court activity, and additional updates will be provided as appropriate. But to be fair, that's not a doubtful tag. My man Josh Longstaff, kicking goals. They also put Josh Green as questionable on their injury report. Interesting. I don't think... I had Cody Martin and Nick Smith as questionable. They missed some preseason time. We'll see whether they're available or not. But Mark Williams is out. Josh Green is questionable. For the Rockets, Steven Adams is questionable. If he is out, you're going to have Jacques Landale as the backup center, I'm guessing, instead of Jeff Green. But that does give more ceiling to Alperen Şengün. On the Hornets, I want to watch what Brandon Miller does. But more importantly, who is the usage guy, him or Bridges behind ball? And does Miller do anything more that's not scoring? On the Rockets, Amen Thompson. Is he a 20-minute reserve? Is he a 27-minute sixth man? Is the shooting improved? No. But where is the role? In terms of stream guys, Trey Mann could become an unbelievably good stream. He's good at the moment, but if Josh Green actually misses, then Trey Mann has Trey Mann has some very good upside. And then on the Houston side, Tari, third season, we know what he can do. The opportunity's not really there, but maybe with Adams out, that also helps. Jabari Smith playing some more center. Maybe that helps Easton get a little bit more in there as well. I didn't say Adams out, sorry. Well, if I did, I meant to say that he was questionable. My bad. The Chicago Bulls and the New Orleans Pelicans is the next game up. The Pelicans are 6.5-point favorites here. The Bulls have a 3-3 week 1 and week 2 schedule. The Pelicans are 3-4. In terms of injuries, Trey Murphy is out. He should be back in a couple of weeks. Zion Williamson, DeJounte Murray, and Jose Alvarado were all questionable. Zion is ill and didn't practice. DeJounte was away for a personal reason, but he's back. So I would say that DeJounte is closer to probable than questionable, whereas Jose Alvarado is dealing with a knee issue. And he had a knee problem, I believe, that bothered him for a big chunk of last season as well. What am I watching on the Bulls side of things? The Bulls, by the way, clean. Kobe White's available. Lonzo Ball is playing. Everyone's available. Josh Giddey, we want to see not how he looks necessarily, but how they distribute the ball handling between him and White and Levine and Dosunmu and Ball. A lot of guys. What do the minutes look like? He played 25 minutes a night for OKC. We just immediately, I think when the trade went down, we thought 33 minutes maybe for Giddey. I'm not sure. I think I've got him at 30 or 31. And then for the Pelicans, old nut scratcher, CJ McCollum, CBA assassin, CJ McCollum, what does he do in this starting lineup? What does he actually do here? With DeJounte, with Zion, with Ingram. Now, of course, maybe Zion and DeJounte are both out and it doesn't actually mean anything, but we want to see how it all functions in this centerless lineup as they punt rebounds and blocks. In terms of streams, Ayo Dosunmu is probably the best Bulls guy. By the way, Patrick Williams, who we thought might be iffy with an ankle, he is fine, ready to go. So that decreases the value of Matas Buzelis. And then I think for the Pelicans, Daniel Tice, he won't start, but I'm guessing he gets the most minutes out of all of their centers. The next game we take a look at is Memphis and the Utah Jazz men. The Grizzlies have a 3-4 schedule. The Jazz go 3-4. And the Grizzlies are only 3.5-point favorites here on the road, which is a little intriguing, but there's a lot of injuries there. There's no Jaren Jackson. He's out. No Vince Williams. No Greg Jackson. No Luke Kennard. Ja Morant missed preseason games with that ankle problem. I'm listing him probable. I think he's fine to go there. And then for the Jazz, Isaiah Collier is out with a hamstring. What is on my radar? It's Zach Edey. Now, we still don't have a full idea because Jaren's going to be out, but how much do they play Edey? I think with no Jaren, he might actually push a little bit higher in minutes, and that might lead to an unbelievably good sell high option in fantasy, but I don't know that, so I want to see it. On the Jazz side of things, I want to see how they use Colin Sexton / Keontae George / Jordan Clarkson. Now, again, in this scenario, there's no Isaiah Collier, so Patty Mills would be the fourth guard, and I don't know how much Patty Mills is going to play. So that might inflate some of the Sexton and Clarkson and even George numbers. But let's watch that. In terms of streaming, you can have Santi Aldama in there, but Brandon Clark usually is a much better permanent producer. Clark will get backup center minutes behind Edey, and maybe he plays the 5, although a Clark-Edey combo is not great. Although, Brandon Clark's been taking threes in preseason. So that's another thing we need to watch. And then for the Jazz, Jordan Clarkson's actually widely available. Now, he's frustrating. He shot under 30% from 3 last season, and I don't really know how real that is in terms of sticking. But he seems under-rostered. They could very easily come in there with old mate Clarko and play him 32 minutes off the bench and have big usage and get 5 assists and score 20. He's a little bit sneaky at the moment, Jordan Clarkson. Today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Game Time has the new feature. You know what it is. It's called Game Time Picks. That makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out all the fluff. You don't have to worry about the bad tickets. This just shows you the good ones, the good values, the good prices, the good events. It's one of the many features that's available on Game Time. The views from your seat is always there. The flash deals, chucking you something up as it's approaching, and the pricing going down as you get closer to the event starting. You've got the super deals, you've got the seat views, you've got the lowest price guarantee, and event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right. We've got a few more games to go here, 2 more, and then we get into some more of the streaming stuff. The next one we look at is the Phoenix Suns and the LA Clippers in LA into a dome. Looks crazy, that place. Looks crazy from the outside as well, because I've actually saw it. Wasn't able to do a tour of it. We did a tour of SoFi Stadium, which is next door, and I would have been nice to get into it, but it wasn't available on the day we were there. But just from the outside, it looks crazy. I'm sure you care about that story. The Suns are 4.5-point favorites here. The Suns have a 3-4 schedule, and the Clippers have a 3-3. In terms of injuries, Josh Okogie is out for Phoenix. Both Damian Lee and Grayson Allen are probable. And then for the Clippers, we know Kawhi Leonard is out. Mo Bamba is out. So Kai Jones probably getting backup center minutes, or almost definitely getting backup center minutes. And then the big fella, the big stiffy, the 5-minute man, Bones Highland is he's 5 minutes. Yeah, he's 5 minutes. He's questionable too. I don't know that he even plays. What's on my radar? What am I watching in this game? Well, it's about Tyus Jones. How much does he have the ball? Does he close the games? Is he a 32-minute starter? Is he a 26-minute starter? Is he in there closing with that main group? Do they want him running things? Does it cut all of Durant, Beal, and Booker's assists? We'll see. For the Clippers, it's Kevin Porter Jr. I don't think that Kevin will start. I think he's got some fantasy value, but he's bad at field goals, bad at free throws for category leagues. His turnovers can be high. I don't know that he's a 30-minute-a-night player. For points leagues, there's definitely more security in Kevin Porter, but we want to see how he gets utilized in this scenario without Kawhi. In terms of streams, it's probably Mason Plumlee, the cockroach in Phoenix, in terms of guys who fit the rosterable criteria. If you're looking for defense, Ryan Dunn could be one of them. And then for the Clippers, most likely Derek Jones. Of course, Norman Powell and Kevin Porter have been rostered in the majority of leagues, but if they're there, go for it. Have a crack. And then in deeper formats, maybe it is Kai Jones with old mate Mo Bamba on the sidelines. The last game for the official big opening night of the NBA is the Golden State Warriors going up to Portland. The Warriors are 6-point favorites here on the road. The Warriors have a 3-3 schedule. The Portland Blazers, Jesus Christ, that sounds terrible. The Portland Trailblazers go 3-4. At the moment, Melton and Podziemski I've got listed as probable for the Warriors, while Shaedon Sharpe, Matisse Thybulle, which I forgot to put out there, Sharpe and Thybulle are both out. Robert Williams is doubtful, and Jabari Walker is probable. Thybulle had a knee procedure, so he's out a few weeks, and Sharpe's out a few weeks as well. On the Warriors side of things, I want to watch Podziemski, but that's like a placeholder name for Podziemski, Hield, Melton, Moody, Payton, Wiggins, Kuminga, Jackson Davis, because we have literally no idea. Does anyone, apart from Steph, play 30 minutes? That'll be very indicative of what foreseeable future legend Steve Kerr decides to do. And in the end, I can see Wiggins, honestly, outside of Kuminga, and even then I'm not certain, Draymond, Steph, rosterable in all leagues. But the other guys, I can see them floating in and out. Kuminga, Wiggins, Melton, Hield, Pods. I think it's going to be an annoying scenario. For the Blazers, I don't believe, although it could happen, I don't believe Scoot Henderson will start. But I want to see what minutes they give him, how he looks. Does he actually finish any shots? Can he hit anything? Can he do anything on a team that looks more complete than the one that he was putting up big numbers for at the end of last season? In terms of streams, guys that are hitting my roster threshold, it's Kyle Anderson, but Podziemski, Hield, Melton, all these sort of guys might be available in your league. And then for the Blazers, the guy that I think will start over old mate Scoot Henderson is Toumani Camara. Now, the absence of Matisse Thybulle means there's a bit more for Camara, but there is also more than for someone like Chris Murray and Scoot Henderson in the second unit, because Thybulle was probably going to get 16 minutes or so. So there's a little bit more there, but Kamara's probably your stream for some rebounds and for some steals. Not much of a scorer, though, as I'm sure we are well aware. So, in terms of the schedule and looking at how we can make plays to take advantage there are no back-to-backs. So we don't look at a Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back. There's no real way to get a 2-for-1 going here because Wednesday's a high-volume day. Thursday's a lower one, and then you get to Friday, Saturday, which are higher volumes, and then Sunday is the lower volume one. But we're trying to plan out for that 2-game, and the only team that's got it is the Oklahoma City Thunder, so I'm not going to include that as one of the things. But what we can look at is chunks. Now, this gives you that ability to get games in short periods of time. So all of these guys hit my availability criteria in different situations where we look at it and there's 3 games, 5 nights for these guys, and I think they're worth looking at. Now, a lot of them, you'll say they're rostered already, but I'm trying to incorporate points leagues, category leagues with this one as well. So we are looking at under 45% rostered on Yahoo, not our advanced metric. So Andre Drummond, Ben Simmons, Kelly Oubre, Khris LeVert. These are amazing ads. Amazing ads. Not only just for this 3-game in 5-night period coming up, just to have on your roster like full stop. Andrew Wiggins, also another one in there who gets the nice chunk boost. His value is uncertain, I guess, but it's nice. And then I wanted to do one that was available barely anywhere, and that's Caleb Martin, who's like 5% rostered. So if you're looking for a deeper league, immediate boost, a 3-game, 5-nighter, Caleb Martin is that guy that we're going to be taking a look at in that situation. Let's now finish the show off by looking at some streaming opportunities for Wednesday. Remembering that we do not have to stream. You might not have the open roster spot to stream. I would much rather wait for somebody else to stream to see who they drop. Do they drop Trey Murphy? Could happen. Do they drop another good player who has a stinker? Absolutely possible. Keep an eye on it. I went through all my cutoffs for all these team of the day or stream of the day stuff. I don't need to go through it again. 10-teamer, it's Khris LeVert. 12-teamer, I think it's Brandon Clark. 14-teamer, Santi Aldama. 16-teamer, Caleb Martin. Remember, Nick Richards won't be on this stream list because I didn't know that Mark Williams was officially out. In terms of Yahoo points and ESPN points, Andre Drummond is very clearly the guy there. Now, Andre Drummond is the number 1 player to stream in no matter what your format, but I'm guessing for most category formats, he's already been taken, so I don't think we need to go on about that too much. The 10-team streaming, got 6 names here that if they're available in your 10-team league, you take a look and they might be able to do something for you. Khris LeVert, John Isaac, Brandon Clark, Santi Aldama, Kyle Lowry, and Caleb Martin. Lowry might get you 8 assists in his 28 minutes, which is useful considering who is out on that team. 12-teamers, you look at the 10-team list as well, and then you can come back to this list. Daniel Tice, DeLon Wright, Tari Eason, Eric Gordon, Ayo Dosunmu, and TJ McConnell have some 12-team category league stream appeal. For deeper leagues, so deeper than 12, out to 16, Tamani Kamara, again, whoever's on the 10 and 12 that's available, you use those guys. But for deeper leagues, we've got Tamani Kamara, Derek Jones, the artist formerly known as Torian Prince. I've got Jose Alvarado there, even though he is questionable. Trey Mann, who could really rocket up this list into 12-team consideration if Josh Green is out. And then KJ Martin. And if we hear that he is starting, well, he probably moves into the back end of the 12-team discussions as well. The last thing we want to talk about here is points league streaming. Number 1 on the list is, of course, the big avocado, Andre Drummond, Kelly Oubre, Khris LeVert, Scoot Henderson, Ben Simmons, and Andrew Wiggins. All of these players are available in over 50% of Yahoo leagues. And they, to me, all need to be on rosters. Now, it does change a little bit because Yahoo now on their public leagues for, idiocy, defaulted to 10-team leagues with points as the default, which I don't, ready for a quick rant? I don't get it on Yahoo. You go in there, you choose a league and you go to set up something. First year, I don't have a league on Yahoo this year, by the way. And you go in there and it defaults you to choose a head-to-head points league, and then the option under is head-to-head categories, and it puts next to it most popular. Well, if it's the most popular, why isn't that just the default option? Why are we trying to make points happen? Now, there's no offense to points leagues, but if Yahoo's telling you what the most popular thing is, but saying don't do it, do something different, why? Also, if you're playing a public league, why do they default to 10 teams? I get that 10 teams people would play because they can't find enough of their friends to join in, and 10 team is fine. But this is a public league where anyone can join it. You don't have that issue of not enough friends. Just make it 12. So we have these waiver wires that are just bursting at the seams, where it just is a constant stream fest. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, all of those guys, even though Yahoo is sitting at that 10-team thing for their public leagues, insanity, these guys should all be rostered. And that is your first big bertha of the old daily look-aheads for a 10-game Wednesday in the NBA. You know what to do. You hit the subscribe button. I hope you do anyway. You hit the subscribe, you hit the thumbs up, you check out the LockedOnDaily.com website for the newsletters, and I'll see you later. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.